you really need to understand that this whole business is a business that is governed by numbers
Number.
and is not governed by feelings, is not governed by being a nice person, although it's good to be nice.
Definitely.
It's governed by numbers. And when you get good at getting the numbers right, that will pretty much guarantee success over time. I'm not saying next month, okay, next week,
Yeah.
but over time. So there is a formula for the type of real estate investing that we do in our group. And I want to share that formula with you as soon as I click on the right button here. Do, do,
You
do,
about to
do.
share your, you're gonna share your screen with us.
Yowza, yowza, yowza.
There you go. You're getting tech savvy over here.
Oh, yeah. All right, folks. Here we go. You remember that I said earlier that the goal is to not have to pull any money out of your own pocket, or if you do, then at the very least to be able to pull that money back out of the deal. So when you aren't pulling any money out of your own pocket, that's 100% financing. That's a 100% finance deal, and it's the deal itself that creates the possibility of 100% financing. Okay, so this is the kind of deal that lenders look for when they want to lend money. Right. So the the way that I've processed what we've learned for myself is that I have broken down the formula into two parts. Part one of the formula is ARV minus RC equals SV. Okay, and ARV stands for after repair value. All right. So we already said earlier that we're looking for a place that needs some work on it, right? But before we even consider doing anything with it, we need to figure out what is it going to be worth after that work is done, after the repairs. So when we go look at a place, actually even before we physically look at it, when we first get the information about it, get the address, we look up information about other properties nearby that have sold relatively recently, right? Similar properties nearby that have sold relatively recently. You want to get at least three of those properties that you can compare your property to, and those are called comps because they're comparable properties. You want to get at least three of those to give you a solid idea of what this property will be worth after it's fixed up.
Let
Okay?
me chime in real quick for you too. So
Yes, sir.
for people who are brand new to the real estate game, and they're looking for comps, like where would they go to see comps? Is there free things out there they can use? Is there paid software they can use? Where would somebody go to find a comp for a property?
Yes, and yes. All right. So, free software or a free website is PropWire, PROPWIRE.com, right? Um, Also, you can use websites that are primarily um, websites that list properties for sale, but they also contain information about properties that have sold. Okay,
Yeah.
and this would be uh, Zillow
Yep.
or Redfin
Yep.
or Realtor.com. Okay, all of those sites are geared primarily towards properties that are currently for sale or for rent, but you can also find information about properties that have sold. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
one thing to chime in too, also, one thing you could also do, is if you know anybody who is a real estate agent, you could also ask them for, hey, can you give me, some comps on this property, because
Absolutely.
I'm looking to, purchase or sell, something. So that's also another you can use them as a resource as well. Because sometimes you can take your comps that you come up with, and then you can compare them with the realtor's comps, and you kind of get a ballpark of where you feel that you are. Because I'll comment real quick because like when he said numbers really matter, you do want to have a very, very, very solid idea of what the ARV is, because after you go through this formula and let's say you get everything done and you're accounting for a property to be worth X amount of money on the back end, but you didn't do, a proper, information gathering in your comps, and then you come up to in the back and expect it to be worth, let's say $300,000, but it's only worth 250. $50,000 is a pretty big discrepancy.
You got a problem. You got a problem.
So the essence on the numbers are very important. It's like, before you even look at, repairing anything, before you even always do the front end legwork before you, get into everything else down the road. So,
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
yes, sir.
So second part of it is repair costs. Um, we have a schematic that we use in our mentorship to help us estimate that when we first look at a property. I think what I can do is put a link to that down below.
Okay.
But in any case, you will want to um, also have a contractor, right, walk through a place with you and give you an actual estimate. That's more precise than the basic estimate you come up with at the beginning. Um, but yeah, I'll share the schematic or the grid down below, or a link to that that will help you with that to get an eyeball estimate when you first look at a property. When we do our weekend with our mentor, I mean, we'll walk into a place and he's just walking through and saying, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so this will be about, you know, this many thousands of dollars. And we'll look at him, or at least I'm looking at him and say, like, how you do that? I mean, how you do that in like 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But that's a matter of having a basic idea up front and then just having the experience. You do it a bunch of times and you start to get a feel for it. But
Yeah.
you subtract that after repair value, you subtract those repair costs, what it'll be worth after it's fixed up. You subtract the costs to do the fix up from that, and that gives you an idea of what it's worth right now, right? And for this formula, I'll call that the subject value, the value of the subject property right now. So that's the first part of the formula. Second part of the formula, if you take that subject value, and before I even show this to you, I'm going to hit this again, this word that I've been using, discount, 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 discount. You want a discounted price. Okay, we've established what the property is worth right now. That's less than properties around it, less than comparable properties, because it needs work, right? So you could look at that value that it's worth right now and say that that right there is a discount because it's less than the properties around it. No, 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 no. That's our starting point. That's not the discount. We want a discount on the subject value. We don't want to pay the full price of what it's worth right now, right? We
Yes,
want
sir.
we want to get a discount. How much of a discount do we want? We want a discount of at least 30%, which means that we want to pay no more than 70%. Okay? So the subject value times 70% is, oh, my M disappeared. That's supposed to say MAO.
Yeah, you put it down in invisible ink.
The subject value times 70% equals our maximum allowable offer. That means the subject value times 70% is the absolute most that you will pay for that property. If somebody
Don't
insists, go ahead.
go above the MAO.
Ever, right?
Don't go above it. You find yourself, once you started kind of getting into, especially in the beginning, wanting to get your first deal done, you'll run this formula several times. Like, oh yeah, I'm only 5,000 off the MAO. I'm only 3,000 off the MAO.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
$3,000, $5,000, even if, let's say, the deal can still work, if something were to happen, contractor quits the job middle of the job, happened to me. Um,
Mm.
that's where sticking to the numbers gives you that a little bit of a buffer of that grace where you're good if some things come across happen. Nothing is 100% going to go exactly how you plan in real estate.
Right, right, right.
So if you stick to the guidelines, the formula, it will definitely help you to avoid any costly mistakes. When evaluating a property. So going back on
Yeah.
what Ellen said in the beginning, stick to the numbers, stick to the formula.
It's called the maximum allowable offer for a reason, folks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and those of you who are, you know, let me scratch that. I want to just throw some numbers in here, and I wish I knew a way to share while I was writing, but I don't. So I'm just going to recite, okay? I'm going to ask you to pull out a pen and a piece of paper, folks watching, listening, if you can, and follow along with me. Um, so we're looking at a house, and we've established by looking at houses around it that this house is going to be worth $300,000 when it's done. All right, you got that? And
$300,000.
let's say that it doesn't really need anything beyond like paint and carpet or paint and flooring, right? This is a light job. It just needs like $20,000 of work. Is and it's easy to spend $20,000 when you're working on a house. For some of us, $20,000 sounds like a big number. When you're working on a house, $20,000 is not a big number. Okay.
What was that?
All right. So that takes us down to 280. Okay. So 280,000 is your subject value. All right. So what is the most that you are allowed to offer on that house? Do, 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 do. All right. If you multiply that 280 by 70%, you should have gotten $196,000. That is the most that you are allowed to offer for this house that you're confident is going to be worth 300,000 when it's done. Okay? That's a that's a big spread, right? From
Mm-hmm.
196 to 300,000. All right? And it would be understandable getting started if you might feel nervous about offering what looks to you like a way low price. Like,
Mm.
I'm scared to make that offer. Make the offer.
Yeah.
The worst they can do is say no. It's more likely that they'll do a counter offer. Okay.
Yeah.
But make the offer because you need for the price to be down here for you to make the money that you need to make the deal worth doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 196 is your maximum allowable offer. Now, if that spread between the 196 and the 300 looks like a big spread to you that can make you nervous about offering the 196, I'm going to mess with your mind a little bit more. The 196 is the maximum allowable offer. That means it's the most that you're going to offer to pay. Does that mean that's what you offer the first time out?
No, sir.
No, sir. Because what I just said about them possibly doing a counter offer. So if your maximum offer is 196, you might start at 190, 185, 180. A rule of thumb among real estate investors who have been at it for a while is if your first offer does not embarrass you, you're offering too much,
Mm.
right? So when you make your first offer, you want it to be low enough so that there's room to negotiate up to 196 if needed.
Yes.
If you offer 185 and they say, I can't take that. This house is worth 300, although it's really not because it's not, it needs some work on it. But you see, they think it's worth 300 because it's on the same block as another house that actually is worth 300, right? I can't take that. Okay, give me what's your counter offer? If you offer 185 and if they are really in a place where they need to sell, they might come back with 195. In which case, you're golden. Because, yeah, right? The 196 is under 196, you're at 195, bingo. They might even come back with 190. You want to give yourself room for negotiation.
Definitely.
And that's the formula, folks.
Sear it into your brain, put it in your notes, run the numbers, just memorize it. Now it's like the first time I saw this formula, I'm like, one thing is I watched a lot of YouTube videos and people talk about real estate, but not a lot of people, at least when I was looking for mentors and different things of real estate, would go over the formula, this formula specifically. So like when I had came across this formula in this mentorship group, I may have maybe skimmed across it, briefly in other, people I came across, but like I had never had it broken down and, explained to me in detail as I had when I joined this mentorship group. So, it opened up. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like one of those things where it's like, connecting the dots.
Right.
This was a missing piece in me trying to connect the dots from, getting from point A to point, to Z, so to speak, because I'm like, okay, well, you need to have the fundamentals down before you are able to, take and grow and get your first, second, third, fourth, to get to the point that you want to get to when it comes to your real estate journey. So
there it is. I'm pointing at my screen as if you can see me pointing at my screen. But yeah, take a screenshot of this, right, folks? And I recommend that you just do some practice arithmetic problems, right? If a property is going to be worth this amount of money, but it needs this amount of repair to be done, then what will the subject value be? And then if what the subject value is X, then what will be my maximum allowable offer? Just do that a few times, a few dozen times, what the heck, just to get the feel for how the formula works and to get yourself comfortable with the idea that maximum allowable offer is going to be, should be way below that ARV. No,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
whole point, is to be able to acquire properties at a price where that price itself will guarantee profit, right? But when you
Yeah.
get the price fixed up, boom, you're good to
Yeah.
go.
Quick sidebar.
Yes, sir.
I don't think I've heard anybody say arithmetic in a very long time.
That's
I
what happens
still,
when you get old.
he said the arithmetic. I'm like, what? Hey, if there's somebody watching this who's probably 18, 19 years old, like, what's arithmetic? I never heard of that before.
Right, right.
Oh man, that's funny.
Oh dear. Um, but so with that, um, I feel like that this might be a good place to break off, although I don't actually want to, because I feel like we could go another hour, right?
Literally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, um, Mr. Ivan, would you be willing to come back sometime and to help us explore further
Definitely.
this world?
Definitely. I really
And
enjoyed, but
I was just going to say, I really wanted to give you an opportunity to share the story of your first deal, right? Um,
yeah,
because I think that people can also learn a lot from other people's experiences, right?
yeah.
Including yours and mine. So um, maybe we can do a session together where we share our experiences and uh, say, okay, kids, now don't do this thing that I did, right?
Hmm. Literally,
Or
yeah. I could definitely, yeah. I could tell yeah. I could tell a story from that property that I bought. But
yeah,
yeah, I definitely would be willing for sure to come on again and explain my experience, and explain how I got from point A to point B to where I'm at right now. But it's like some of those things where it's like nothing in a textbook or a notebook can really necessarily prepare you for. It's one of those things where it's like you just with anything in life, you know, you just got to go through it, and once you
mhm.
go through it, you understand,
Um,
you know.
go
So
go go through it and take notes along the way.
take notes along, yeah,
Okay,
take notes along the
lesson
way.
learned.
Definitely seared into my brain,
Right, right, right.
you
So,
know. But
all right, so hey, well, it's been a tremendous pleasure. I really appreciate you coming out and joining us, and look forward to doing it again sometime.
yes, sir. Thank you for having me, brother. It was a pleasure, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
All right, you too, brother.
And I